Hey guys, Ryan Wright's right here.
And Jerry's jerrying over Jerry.
Yes, he is. So today we're going to talk about The Incredible Hulk. Thumbnail! Okay, so The Incredible Hulk, little spoiler talk here. We're not going to cover all the things that, everyone else has covered before. We don't know what we're going to cover, actually. I like this movie. I don't love this movie, though. It is definitely not one of Marvel's strongest.
Yeah, I mean, it's stronger, arguably, than Ang Lee's Hulk. It's one of the Marvel movies I haven't really returned to, and I haven't really felt a desire to return to watch more than one time.
Yeah, I could see that because I'm doing the whole Phase 1 and Phase 2 movie marathon, and I honestly kind of wanted to just skip it. So I was watching this and I'm like, this just isn't as interesting as the other ones. But there's things about it that I really do like. I like Stan Lee's cameo. They actually gave him a pivotal role. Because what happens is he's working in the factory, his blood drops in one of the bottles, and that bottle goes to Stan Lee. And then they're like, it's gamma poisoning. We know where Bruce Banner is now. He's in wherever they're making those bottles. So that was a cool cameo, because normally Stan Lee just shows up and says some stupid one-liner. I guess I like Edward Norton's I like his performance. There's nothing groundbreaking about his performance or really special. I can see why people would not have a problem with him being recast for the Avengers, because there's nothing really special about Bruce Banner in that movie.
Well, yeah, there's a weird thing, and maybe it's just because I've heard the news since, because I know they had a lot of trouble behind the scenes, with him really wanting Final Cut, and, him being really, the sort of driving force behind this movie, and that's sort of what I remember, is, just remember a lot of Edward Norton, kind of being broody and shit.
The action sequences I do enjoy. That, I gotta give you credit for that, because there's the action sequence at the beginning with the rooftop chase, and then he turns into the Hulk, and that was really cool, because they kept the Hulk in the shadows the whole time, so it's you set him up as this terrifying monster, and so he's just thrashing shit around, and you just see one shot of him where Tim Roth is shooting at him, and you just see the Hulk's face for the first time. Yeah. That was cool. I like the fight scene where he's hanging out with Aerosmith's daughter, Liv Tyler. Yeah, he's hanging out with Liv Tyler, and then the army shows up, and then he turns into the Hulk. That was a cool fight. I like the whole supersonic wave thing that happens. Of course, the final fight scene was really cool.
With Abomination. Yeah.
I gotta give a lot of credit to that final fight scene, because I've seen this movie 3 times now. Every time I get to that, I'm like, okay, yeah, that made the movie much more worth it. That climactic fight is really interesting, because, you think of movies like Transformers, where you're watching giants fight each other, and it's just visuals. That's essentially what this is, but the way it was captured with the cinematography, it looked real. And to this day, I'm like, it looks fairly real for the most part.
Well, and that's also not a movie that's overly bloated with all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They actually have a chase going on, sort of a cat and mouse between him and Tim Roth throughout the movie. And I mean, so much of a Hulk movie is about him trying to not Hulk out.
Yeah.
Whereas a Transformers movie is just let's just make more robots punch each other for a while, And
it does make an interesting comparison for the two, because Tim Roth is all about wanting more and more and more of this shit. And Bruce Banner's I want to get rid of it.
Yeah, I was I don't know. This isn't my thing.
So when they come together to fight, I'm just realizing this all right now. When they come together to fight, it is pretty powerful. Because
it's a clash of ideology.
Yeah, because it's two very different. They're different monsters with the same gamma thing, but they're fighting for different causes. And at the same time, you gotta watch the buildup happen. He's not hulking out through most of the film. He's Bruce Banner through most of it, and
I just liked also that while he's Bruce Banner, he confronts the idea that he wears stretchy pants, because gotta keep his pants on.
Yeah, yeah. It comes up 3 times in the movie. Yeah.
Why doesn't Abomination have a penis?
And with Abomination, though, Abomination effects, he was scary,
He looked like someone out of Resident Evil.
Right?
Yeah.
And there was some brutal stuff in that fight.
Tyrant.
I do have a question, though. Because he's named the Hulk through, those news reports. It's some type of Hulk, one of those things. And I don't think Bruce Banner caught that news report. And then when he's fighting as the Hulk in the end, he goes, Hulk smash! I'm like, wait. Why did he just call himself the Hulk?
That was always a problem for me with this movie, is and throughout, it wasn't until the Avengers where I feel like somebody actually properly handled Hulk smash for the now. It's you can have Hulk in a cartoon or in a comic book be Hulk smash, because you've established a tone that supports that. When he said that in this movie, I was completely taken out of it for a second. I don't think he would have actually said that.
No, that's what I mean. That moment Seemed a little shoehorned in for me.
Yeah. And then the Avengers one is like Captain America says Hulk, like that's your thing. It's like Hulk smash.
Yeah.
Like that was fucking great. And this movie just kind of sounded silly.
Yeah,
you know,
it did. It really did. But overall, that last fight scene was cool. I did like the way it ended, actually, with Hulk being like, "Oh fuck, I gotta go." Yeah. Because he does look really bummed out. I remember thinking that when the helicopters show up after that long ass fight, and he's just like, alright. Just seeing the Hulk get like really depressed. Yeah. I'm not even mad anymore. You know, and you see at the end, I didn't get it till like the third time watching it, but I see now in the finale with Edward Norton when he's like meditating, he's intentionally channeling it. So he's learning how to activate the Hulk in him, which
control it.
Which transitioned into the Avengers with Mark Ruffalo's when he's like he knows how to turn into it when he needs to.
I sort of find myself wondering if Hulk will ever get another standalone movie, and I kind of wish that someone could figure that out, especially now that we have Mark Ruffalo. Because I liked Edward Norton's performance in this, but I feel like Mark Ruffalo
is
the
choice. He is the one. Yeah. Out of
it's
all
like
of them.
Edward Norton's a good choice, but he also really wanted to do. So it's like, you know, you did a good job, but you're trying to do this a bit too hard. Whereas like Mark Ruffalo just feels like, yeah, that's the guy. Like,
yeah,
that's the guy who's a scientist and a giant Hulk monster. Like,
absolutely. He has the sincerity down to a whole new level. William Hurt in this movie though was I thought he was so over the top. He seemed like he was aware he was in a comic book movie the whole time.
But that seemed to be kind of a thing with a lot of the supporting characters, I think. I mean, I really liked Tim Blake Nelson, but he even seemed kind of like, oh, like I'm a devious comic book guy.
What it seemed like it was trying to do was honor the show, actually.
And they got Lou Ferrigno in that cameo.
And that was a good cameo, too.
Yeah.
Like, I like how they handle their cameos. And I know Lou Ferrigno did the voice of the Hulk again in that movie. This movie certainly has its moments. William Hurt's over the top. Tim Roth, you know, I like this movie for the most part, even though it seems like I'm bagging on the film right now. The makeup of him when he gets, like, buffer, I just didn't like. I was like, this just doesn't look real. When he has like a six-pack and like all these muscles, I'm like, I love how his body just gets perfect, but his face stays exactly the same age.
He's still haggard.
Yeah, he's got like a 20-year-old body with the same face.
That's pretty cool. Or not a sting, but they put a scene in there, didn't they, where Tony Stark finds him in a bar or whatever.
Yeah, and they showed that all over the trailers, which is great.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah, Tony Stark shows up. That was good. That was a good Avengers tease because you actually, instead of getting Nick Fury, you get Iron Man himself to make an appearance.
Yeah.
Overall, from beginning, middle, and end, like it has its moments of good heart. I thought the movie, in terms of characters, started becoming more interesting like 40 minutes in when Liv Tyler and Edward Norton start like having scenes together. You know, like I wasn't exactly 100% drawn to the romance, but there are some fun moments. Like they're about to have sex, but then his heart rate gets too high, so he's afraid he's going to turn into the Hulk.
Yeah.
I would have just done her anyway.
No.
Hulk thrash!
You will rip that poor girl apart.
Yeah, well, you know what? It would be the best orgasm death ever.
Nope.
Yep, you never know.
No, I do know.
You never know.
I don't think it's worth finding out.
That dick would destroy her.
Ah!
Just imagine that.
No, I don't want to.
Just going into her vagina.
Don't want to imagine it, no. Nope.
It'd be like Mortal Kombat X. You just put it in her and then she just splits apart in half. And then you see her guts just fall over the place. Hulk wins. Fatality. There were a couple of characters in this movie that they set up that are not going to get their own appearances again. The scientist guy, I liked him. He was like a cartoon character. The one who was Mr. Blue, who was helping out Ed Norton, but what was his name?
Tim Blake Nelson?
Yeah.
From like Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
Yeah. He was good. I liked his level of energy. I liked his philosophy towards it, how he was fascinated with the power. I forgot the character he was supposed to become, but they were hinting at it. At one point, blood perfectly drops onto his wound, and his brain starts to get bigger. There was that, and then Liv Tyler had a boyfriend at the time. I love how Liv Tyler had like no contemplation as to like feeling morally bad about having a boyfriend. This fugitive ex-boyfriend of mine took off. He comes back, and I'm just gonna completely forget about my current boyfriend. He's a therapist, and he's supposed to turn into a villain too down the road. One thing I want from the Hulk movies, this is what I liked about Mark Ruffalo's performance, was you can tell Mark Ruffalo had a temper problem that he was always fighting against. I think the Hulk's mentality is something that could be really interesting to explore. It's a guy who has anger issues, and when he gets angry, he becomes a monster. You know, it's a good like allegory for people with anger problems.
It's kind of like a werewolf story.
Exactly. Yeah, it could be a very interesting tale. Like what I don't like about the Hulk films that we've gotten, they're more about like the adventure and the military coming in and stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem. Is like this is a character who has like a serious emotional problem that is the root of his power. You know, that's then complicated by radioactive.
Yeah,
or radiation. That doesn't necessarily lend itself to being a big, loud action movie as much as it does sort of a personal struggle story, I guess.
It would be I think it'd be more interesting if they added more personal struggle into the mix. If you have that aspect of it, it makes Bruce Banner that much more relatable. It just makes him seem more human at the end of the day, instead of watching the movie going, when's he gonna Hulk out again?
Yeah,
I like how the Avengers played with it, where it was like, hey, you don't want him to turn into the Hulk, because shit will go bad if he does.
Yeah, this isn't a good thing.
Yeah.
We don't know what will happen.
Yeah. That's the take I would prefer if they did a Hulk movie. Is you could make a really dark, emotional tale out of the Hulk. And that's what I want if they end up doing another reboot, or if they end up doing a solo movie with Mark Ruffalo. I hope that's what we get.
Yeah. So I see. Somehow I still am sort of wondering if that would ever happen. But if they do, I hope Marvel can continue their sort of approach of making each of these different series a different kind of movie, and to really draw from that, because they've really sort of broken away from making your standard superhero comic book movie.
I think that was the problem with this Hulk film, was that they were paying too much tribute and following along the lines of the 1970 show, you know, rather than just going, let's just make it our own thing right now.
Yeah, this was still early, because like Iron Man is still a comic book movie, because that's the first thing they're trying to do. And then you get into Thor and you get into Captain America, and those start to become like Thor's a fantasy movie as well as a superhero movie, and Captain America is a period piece war movie, or the second one is, you know, an espionage movie. So it's like now they're a bit more confident, and they can cross genres together, and I hope to see that happen to the Hulk.
Yeah.
Now that it's a thing.
So bottom line, I don't love the Incredible Hulk, but I like it enough to repeat view it when I'm doing these marathons.
Yeah, it's alright.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, if you're new to the channel, you can sub to The Real Rejects.
You can.
And you could check Jerry's playlist, Reasons to Jerry. And you could follow Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.com/TheReelRejects. See how I cut out those words?
What?
I didn't say subscribe.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't say check out. And I said follow Facebook.
Okay.
So follow Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yeah.
You don't have to follow us on there. But before we end this video, I do think that there should be a sex scene with the Hulk and a human woman. Or She-Hulk and the Hulk.
That'll be it. That's when it'll work.
Where they have sex in New York City and they destroy all of New York.
That'll be the post-credits sting of my Hulk movie.